All right, let's jump right in. So, Donald Trump recently announced in a statement, I am honored to nominate Chairwoman Elise Stefanik to serve in my cabinet as United States Ambassador to the United Nations. Elise is a strong and very smart America First fighter. She graduated from Harvard University with honors and then got the president fired for allowing free speech on campus. Oh no, that's not in the statement. He should have put that in the
he
statement.
didn't mention
That would have been accurate. Yeah. She was the youngest woman ever elected to Congress and is the highest-ranking woman in Congress as the House Republican Conference chair. She was the first member of Congress to endorse me. Well, that's good, and has always been a staunch advocate. Elise is a senior member of the House Armed Services Committee, the House Intel Committee, and led the charge against anti-Semitism on college campuses. She will be an incredible ambassador to the United Nations, delivering peace through strength and America First national security policies.
This one is Nazi punks. Fuck off.
Yeah, there she is, in case that description didn't ring a bell. Trump chooses Congresswoman Elise Stefanik to serve as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. She is from the neighboring district to my district. She represents from like Northern Capital Region, Eastern, Western Capital Region, all the way up to the Canadian border. So I know some of the towns that she represents.
So it's the neighboring one. It's not
mine.
Town.
It's not mine. It's very gerrymandered, as I'll show you at the end of this. President-elect Donald Trump has tapped House Republican Conference Chair and longtime ally Representative Elise Stefanik of New York to serve as ambassador to the United Nations. Stefanik is Trump's first cabinet pick for his second term in the White House. Don't worry, folks, we have more. This was just the first one. We're kind of going in order here. I am honored to nominate Chairwoman Elise Stefanik to serve in my cabinet as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Elise is an incredibly strong, tough, and smart America First fighter, Trump said in that statement we just read. Monday, Stefanik said she was truly honored by Trump's announcement. I stand ready to advance President Donald J. Trump's restoration of America First peace through strength leadership on the world stage on day one at the United Nations, she said in a statement. Her appointment was first reported by CNN. Stefanik, 40, has been a staunch defender of Israel in its response to Hamas's October 7th attacks and has been outspoken over the last year about anti-Semitism on college campuses. A day before last week's election, Stefanik reiterated her call for the defunding of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, as we know it, in the Near East because she alleges it has been infiltrated by Hamas. That's right. This was not the statement from over the spring, late winter. This was as recent as 1 week ago, 1 week from yesterday, November 4th, after an entire month where no aid has gotten in to northern Gaza. She writes, I proudly stand with Israel and renew my call to defund UNRWA. The first paragraph is all stuff we've heard before, but I want to pay special focus to that second paragraph. Just as President Trump did, and I have consistently advocated for, we must permanently cut off funding to UNRWA, which instills anti-Semitic hate in Palestinians, houses weapons for terrorists, and steals the aid they are supposed to be distributing. That's right. Trump actually did defund UNRWA as president. Just didn't get the press that it gets now because of the obviously exponentially more horrific circumstances under which this cutoff is happening. But yes, Trump actually did defund UNRWA when he was president the first time.
I really want to know all the people who share those. Okay, so there are ironical memes of Trump as Rambo and all that. So, you see that your guy is Israel's bitch, right? You see that he's Miriam Adelson's bitch. You see she's pegging Trump all day and all night long. How do you look at this guy like some paragon of, we're going to make America great again? He's Israel's bitch. He's Israel's bitch. He's got Israel down his throat. Clearly, look at every pick he's made.
Yeah, we will notice a pattern in due time, for sure. Stefanik has served as the chairwoman of the House Republican Conference since May of 2021, after then Representative Liz Cheney was ousted over her vocal criticism of Trump. Stefanik has served in the House since 2015 and represents New York's 21st Congressional District, which covers upstate New York bordering Vermont and Canada. Any appointments by Trump that lead to vacancies in the House could prove problematic for House Republicans. While they could maintain control of the lower chamber, an election outcome that NBC News has not yet called, their margin will be slim, and they struggled throughout the last Congress to maintain effective control of the body with few votes to spare. Bright side of this, folks, is that if there is a close contest to replace her, I will be in a position to do some on-the-ground coverage of that, since she is in my neighboring district. It is not a long drive for me to get to towns and cities which she represents. So here's Michael Tracy.
You almost got beat up last time. Be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's Michael Tracy reminding us of Stefanik's trip to Israel in May of this year. The Trump VP audition reaches a humiliating new low. Don't forget, she was kind of angling for a VP pick. Elise Stefanik, self-described ultra-MAGA congresswoman, goes to the Knesset and blasts Biden, demands support for Israel without conditions, warns October 7th could happen in the U.S., and touts her strong partnership with Trump. So here's some of this speech.
I have been clear at home, and I will be clear here. There is no excuse for an American president to block aid to Israel, aid that was duly passed by the Congress. There is no excuse to ease sanctions on Iran, paying a $6 billion ransom to the world's leading state sponsor of terror, or to dither and hide while our friends fight for their lives. No excuse, full stop. That's why I'm proud to have sponsored or backed every measure to aid Israel that has come before the United States Congress. Every single one. And it's why for years I have been a leading proponent and partner to President Trump in his historic support for Israeli independence and security, including moving the U.S. Embassy to its rightful place in Jerusalem. Israel is indeed a miracle, an outpost of freedom, of Western values, of civilization, a striking example of human potential, the physical embodiment of Herzl's maxim, if you will it, it is no dream. Wow. It's the same founding ethos that we prize in America.
I thought
the
that was
American
Kevin
dream.
Costner.
Yeah, exactly. She really did her homework. She really dressed to impress there. Wow. Mm-hmm. Here she is.
So this is your Make America Great team, guys. Aren't you proud?
Here she is, of course, browbeating the university presidents for daring to allow political speech on campus that does not conform to the ideas expressed in the video we just saw.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If the
yes or no?
If the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide?
No, idiot. Conduct meaning harassing an individual student and singling them out for who they are. That would be harassment, not committing an act of genocide. Yeah. First of all, no one has called for the genocide of Jews on these campuses. That's a lie. And second, the point is conduct means direct harassment, direct targeting of an individual, which is not allowed. Political speech in itself is not harassment. That's what she means. So this is just, she's just an idiot on purpose. She goes on.
The answer is yes. And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual, at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. I will ask you one more time. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric.
And is it anti-Semitic rhetoric?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric, when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes.
The answer is yes, that if an individual is targeted for who they are, then that constitutes harassment. Political speech is not harassment. By her logic, carrying an Israeli flag by this time would be to advocate for the genocide of Arabs.
Exactly.
So what?
Exactly.
Could Arabs say that
Exactly.
whoever walks
and
around with an
they-
Israeli flag should be kicked off the campus?
Well, and this is the dirty reality they don't want to touch. If you're going to apply this standard, there are far more Zionists who, you could argue, given the ongoing genocide, by definition, to claim a belief in Zionism is harassment and bullying of Arab and certainly Palestinian students.
Of
If you're
course,
going
and
to
even
apply this
beyond
standard,
that, a lot of them say it outright.
Look what we
The
just
soccer
saw in
hooligans.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
A lot of
Fuck
them
the-
just
yeah.
straight out are genocidal.
Right. Exactly. Overtly.
You see that much more
Specifically.
from that side because they know that there are no consequences.
Yep.
You'll
Yep,
see
because-
that very little on the pro-Palestine side because they know that the media is dying to get footage of that.
Right. And they know that they don't have a lobby on the Arab side.
Right.
There's no Arab lobby. There's no Palestinian lobby that will elevate a complete lowlife like this to a UN ambassadorship. And just the opposite. She will go out and she will make false accusations. First of all, like I said, the whole premise of this conversation, the whole premise of this line of inquiry is wrong. But even if it were true, political speech in and of itself is not harassment. The university presidents made that very clear. Didn't stop all of them from having to step down anyway, thanks in large part to this woman who has no respect for the First Amendment, no respect for free speech, no respect for political dissents, and no real knowledge or concern for anything except who pays her. Who pays her. And speaking of who pays her, there you have it, $820,000 from the Israel lobby.
And that's a lot of money for a congresswoman.
That is quite a lot of money. Absolutely. Absolutely. By far, her top campaign contributor for the 2023-2024 cycle. Look at that. AIPAC, $209,000. Second, Apollo Global Management. They sound nice. $29,000. So AIPAC, almost 10 times the amount of her next highest donor. This is her district. So I'm in the district.
They
the
drained
blue
the
one.
swamp and filled it with Kugel.
Exactly, yes. I'm in the district right below her where the city of Albany is. But, I am not far away from that big red district just north of Albany. It runs pretty much the entire length of the Vermont border, Vermont and New York. It's a big red, mostly rural district, but that is who she represents, and she won her district pretty handily, 62-237, in a campaign funded, as you could see, largely by the Israel lobby. So that was Donald Trump's first appointment. Wow. Off to one hell of a start there. And I will just have to add, the UN just put out that devastating report, which we covered, that showed that 70% of victims in Gaza, fatalities, are women and children.
Yep.
Males and females being killed in just about equal number, because 44% are children, 26% grown women, and 30% grown men. And so you have a report out that pretty much confirms this is indiscriminate mass murder. This is genocide actively and intentionally, which we knew long ago. But in the face of this report coming out, just think of this woman going to the UN. Think of this woman going to the UN. Here I am. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Is she substantively worse than Linda Thomas Greenfield? Not really. I mean, same difference if you're in Gaza now, I suppose. But what do we see here? The Trump administration is just going to be the mask-off version of the Biden administration. Biden has to send a soft-spoken African-American woman to make it look like they're really there to try.
Right.
Instead, Trump just sends this piece of shit in, fresh off of browbeating the university presidents. Here I am, just a giant turd in the punch bowl, and that's it. That's what you have.
Yeah, that really illustrates the difference between the two parties right there. The DNC, they have to send Token McGinty, as we call her, to make it to make genocide reflect representation, the values of diversity. And no, the Trump people, it's more honest. It's more honest. Hey, you go ahead and you scream your head off for Israel. Same result, same votes in the end. What different? There's the argument we made to anyone who said, well, you have to choose between the lesser of two genocides. What do you mean the lesser of two genocides?
Right.
In the end, the actual situation on the ground is not going to be any worse.
Right.
You're simply going to have a much more open and honest unconditional support for Israel. You have that unconditional support now with Biden. What have they done to stop them? Mean phone calls?
Today,
If that.
Today, November 12th, for those watching the clip of this tomorrow, this is the quote-unquote deadline for Israel to let more aid in, lest there be an arms embargo. We'll see. Haven't heard any word on that yet.
We'll see.
We would have loved to have covered that,
he's a
but there's been
lame
no
duck.
development.
You never know, but I really doubt it.
I really doubt it, too. I doubt it as well. Because the whole reason they set the deadline for after the election is because they never intended to actually do it.
Right.
Right? Like, if they were going to do something about it, they'd probably have set the deadline for end of October. Right? But I don't have my hopes up. It's already 2:30 in the afternoon, which in Israel time, what is it, 9:30 at night? End of day. That's it. No answer. Where's the statement? We'll see. If anything develops, we'll cover it later in the week.
Probably later than that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what time is it? Oh, yeah, because they're further east.
So it's like the middle of the night.
It's middle of the night. Okay, yeah, they're further east in Europe. That's right.
Please clap.